Hey guys, welcome to Stamp Making 101 for ceramics. So this week we're going to be making a couple of stamps, actually four to be exact, not eight, four. And you guys are going to be using these stamps for a project for next week. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to create these stamps. Once you're done with them, you're going to let them dry out. So you just need them to completely dry out so that they're bone dry by next week, which shouldn't be a problem. Okay. So, and you don't need a ton of clay for this project this week. So I just grabbed a little bit of clay and I'm going to help to get you guys started. And then I'm going to show you some other examples of stamps and the best kinds of stamps to make. Okay. Okay, guys, I'm back. And I wanted to show you a couple of examples of stamps that past students have made and kind of what makes a good stamp and what doesn't. Okay, so there's all sorts of stamps that you can make. This one is very detailed. Okay, it kind of looks like a pizza slice. So if I were to take this stamp, hold on, squishing my clay down. If I were to take this stamp, okay, and squish it, we have a really cool pattern. Okay. Let's see what some others. Notice this stamp, how it's coming, the petals of the flower are off the surface. If I were to push that in my clay, I would get a really, really good flower image. Rather than if I had a stamp that was all carved into the surface, okay? I'm trying to find a really good example, but like this one, okay? This is carved in, okay? I have to push harder to get a really good pattern. So sometimes you don't have enough clay for that. I would try to create something with patterns that are off the surface, because then when you push them down, you get a really, really good pattern on them. So you guys are going to be making 8 different patterns. I'm just having fun like using stamps. I'm like, woo, look at that stamp. Ooh, this one's really cool. Look at this one. Okay. Look at this one. That one is beautiful. So you can make any kind of stamps that you want. You can see the base of these stamps are like super simple. I mean, like they're literally just nothing, right? So this isn't really a really intense assignment. If you look at how all the bases of these are created, it's not a big deal. Okay, so it's just I think the hardest part is going to be deciding which kind of stamps that you want to make. So I'm going to take my clay. I have no idea what I'm going to make. So and I'm also going to give you some tips on some different tools to use for this project. So here's my clay. I'm literally just kind of made it into kind of a big fat coil. Okay. And I'm just going to smooth it out a little bit because who doesn't like their things smooth? Okay. And I actually I'm kind of chunking some clay up at the end. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to literally push down on the table. I'm going to just kind of pound it down so it's a really fat, flat, smooth surface. And notice that my handle, I want it to be a good handle, but I don't really care what it looks like. No. So now I'm going to form this base to be something different. So what am I going to take here? For all my tools, I'm actually going to take this little credit card tool that I made last week. And I'm going to use one of the straight edges and I'm going to go this is a smart idea. Getting like super straight edges. Just flattening that out. Oh, look at that. Super simple. All I did was go like this on the sides. Good tool. Okay, so now I have this really nice flat square, and I am going to make a flower. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a flower. So I have a couple of tools here. One is a hefty little pencil, and the other one is a pen that doesn't work anymore. Okay, that's just out of ink. I'm going to use my pencil, and I am going to just kind of plot out what I want my flower to look like. I want to do some big leaf or petals, I guess they're not leaves, on my flower. So I just kind of, I don't even know if you can see that. You can kind of see the petals there, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to carve around the petals. So I'm going to take my sharp pencil and I'm going to push down I'm just pushing down around the edges of where the petals are going to kind of come together like this. You can kind of see that. And my clay is really wet, so it's kind of hard to carve, but it's okay. I'm actually going to take this little part of my little credit card that I used, or you could use the actual credit card, I guess, too, or the pen. It's kind of like a trial and error. You just want to see like which tools you think are working the best. And remember how we talk about the 6 stages of clay and how clay dries differently, right? So right now my clay is really wet moist. It's really hard to carve wet moist clay, okay? So I'm actually kind of, when I'm carving, I'm actually kind of like, I don't know if you can see this, I'm like just pushing the clay down all the way around the petals, like that, okay? Um, and then once the clay firms up a little bit, so you could just leave it out for a few hours or possibly even overnight. It might dry up too much though, so you might want to drape something over it. So now let's see now let's get a close up here. So here's my close up of my petals, okay? So then I would actually, I'm going to let this firm up a little bit, and then I'm going to go in with my pencil or my pen, and I'm just going to carve and take away a little bit more area around that flower, okay? But it's really wet right now, so I'm going to have to wait until it's a little bit more leather hard, and then I'll be able to carve that out. So let's make another stamp while we're waiting. You guys won't be able to see me finish that stamp. You can just imagine how great it's going to be when I'm done with it. Okay, so here's my second stamp. Do it the same way. It's like beautiful, isn't it? No, no. Okay, so then I'm going to do the same thing though. I'm going to, you don't have to make it a square. You could make it a circle. I could just like trim it so that it, so I hope you guys, yeah, you can see what I'm doing. I'll move it back a little bit. So I kind of just got rid of some area. So it was a little bit more circular. Okay. Now for this one, I'm going to create a little bit more of a design. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pencil again, and I'm just going to draw design. So, and then once I finish drawing this design, I'm going to want to fix it up again once it is a little bit harder. So I'm going to kind of do the initial sketching of it, and then once it's in leather hard stage, then I can finish it and really make it look better. So I'm just going to put some random lines in this one. Where should this lines go? I'm literally just kind of putting some lines in. And it looks really rough right now, but once I let it dry out a little bit and it's leather hard, then I can kind of clean up and sharpen those lines. Okay, so ta-da! Okay, now we're gonna make one more stamp. Well, you guys are gonna make 4. I feel like you don't really need to watch me make 4 because that's really boring. Unless you guys just miss me, which I know you do. Okay, so my last stamp is going to be a heart, okay? Because I miss you guys so much. So I'm going to draw. I'm going to use my pencil. And the pencils and the pen are really great for getting some detail into your clay. Okay, so I drew a really terrible heart right there, okay? And then what I'm going to do, now that I kind of drew it, I'm going to take this pencil and I'm going to get rid of everything around the heart. Again, this is a little bit easier when your clay is slightly drier. I'm just kind of taking all of this clay away. I know it's probably really difficult to try to see what I'm doing on this video, but you get the picture. So here's a side view of the heart, okay? And then I could go in with the pen, because I kind of like this pen, and define. I'm going to push the heart down so I don't have any rough edges. And then, here is my heart. Ta-da! Okay. And I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to clean it up some more. Okay. The idea of this assignment is that it's really not very difficult. You're going to make 4 different stamps. Okay. You just saw me in like 10 minutes make 3. And then once they're firmed up a little bit, you can clean them up on the edges. Hopefully these tools will also help you, just pencil and a pen, to help you with more, oops, my computer fell, to help you with some more details, okay? Then next week, we're going to be able to use these. The idea is that you guys are going to let these dry out completely. So they have to be bone dry to use them. They also have to be pretty durable, okay? Because remember, bone dry is its most fragile state. So you also want to make sure that you are taking care of your clay and that you are not making anything with really, really delicate edges, because that can really easily break. The reason we're doing 4 stamps is because hopefully one of them will work for next week. So again, completely let your stamps dry out. We're going to use them at their bone dry state. We are not going to be firing them, okay? So hold on. So here, you guys are going to have this little chart to fill out as well. You're just going to create a really quick illustration of each of the 4 stamps on this page. This will be in your OneNote along with attached to your email. On this page, there's also a ton of examples that I found online of different types of designs that you could create for your stamps, okay? So make sure you check out these resources as well. Again, lots of great examples of things that you can do. If you have any questions, as always, just shoot me an email. I miss you guys a ton. Love you. I'm excited to see what your stamps are going to look like. Okay, have a great week.